Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode on the Unleashing Potentials podcast. My name is Bernadette Desir, and I'm your host. Joining me today, all the way from Australia, you guys, it's Gabrielle. How are you?
I'm really good. How are you?
I'm freezing, but smiling for some reason. I'm good.
I wish
I'm good.
I wish I was freezing. We're melting here in Australia. It's hot and humid. I'm
Oh,
envious.
wow. Is it like
Mm.
summertime for you guys now, or?
Yeah, it's the middle of summer and it's unbearably hot. So what I would do for -50 Celsius, which is what you said
Yeah,
it is in Calgary today, I would love that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That would be so cold, though.
It would.
Yeah, yeah. So you're tuning in from Australia. How long have you
Yeah.
been in Australia?
Well, it's interesting you asked me that because most people assume I was born here, but I wasn't. I don't have an Australian accent. I have a South African accent. So I made my way from Cape Town, South Africa, to Australia in 1994.
Oh, wow. I
Yes,
was 4 years
yes.
old. That's so cool.
Am I giving away my age, Bernadette?
No, no, just mine. Yeah, that's awesome. So what do
Mm.
you do in Australia?
Well, I was in corporate psychology, organizational psychology for 27 years, but now I'm an energy coach. So I'm in Australia, but I teach people from around the world how to master their energy.
Oh,
And it's a big game changer. It turned my life around. And so it's something that I'm passionate about teaching other people how to do.
that's so cool. Take us back. What have you been through and the healing that you've done?
Sure, I've been through a lot. I mean, I'm north of 50, so by this stage in life, you've been through a lot. Actually, I know that you're interested in the topic of grief and grieving, and that was a theme in my life because my uh, childhood was marked by a really traumatic event at age 9. My beloved father died of cancer. And he was dying for years before that. So, kind of from the age of 5, I lived with this feeling and this sense that something bad was happening and we were just waiting for it to happen. And that was interesting because it set in like two paths for me. The one path was, my wound developed, my core wound, which was you're always waiting for the other shoe to fall, and a whole lot of anxiety that just dogged me throughout my life. But parallel to that, I became really interested at a young age about self-discovery and self-mastery because somehow I was searching for answers. Like at age 7, 8, why was my dad dying? So I became really fascinated in my dreams. And I remember the very first dream that I had that was so powerful. And I woke up from it and I got onto my windowsill. The moonlight was shining in. I can't remember exactly how old I was. I might have been about 8 years old. And I tried to make sense of this dream. And every night after that, I became like really obsessed with going within to try and find answers. And I started documenting and journaling all my experiences. So with the grief came great anxiety, but also great healing. And that's been my journey.
Wow, that's incredible.
Mm.
You have done quite a lot of healing, and it shows. It shows
Oh, thank
in
you.
the power of your story and your strength, and then the work that you're doing today. And it's
Thank
truly an
you.
honor to talk to you.
I feel
Mhm.
the same. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I also record my dreams.
You
Because,
do.
yes,
Oh,
yes, I
wow.
do. Yeah. So I had a spiritual awakening 2.5 years ago now. And ever since I can go back from that time to all the dreams I've had. And I've had lots of past life regressions. I didn't know what they were until I was told what they were. And
Mm.
what did the dreams that you had felt like? Was it healing something that you
Yeah.
you knew you had to heal, but wasn't sure how to?
Yeah. Well, I took time to learn how to heal. But all my dreams in my life, and actually I had one last night as well, to this day. The theme, I had a powerful dream last night. It was incredible. To this day, my dreams, the theme is always about anxiety.
Mm.
And so the healing has been around that theme in my life. Although today's dream was interesting, Bernadette, because I, something was happening, but what actually the dream was about ascension. It was about elevating from
Ooh.
trauma and anxiety, and that was really beautiful. So yeah, but it took me a long time to understand my dreams and really make sense of them. I mean, you go through phases in dream work, don't you, where the first step is to start writing them down and trying to remember them. And even if you don't remember them, you can just, when you wake up, write down how you're feeling, because the felt sense gives you a clue as to what you dreamt about. And then once you start journaling for a while, you can start to see patterns and themes. And then over time, which is where I'm at now, 40 years later, is you don't even have to remember your dream. You wake up and you get the lesson before the dream becomes conscious. So it's an incredibly powerful practice. And from an energy mastery perspective, it's gold. Because when we're sleeping, all our defenses are down and incredible healing can take place.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I,
Yeah.
I think I stopped dreaming years ago. Here's what I mean. I can actually I can actually feel the past lives that I feel, that I know it's not a dream, and I have precognitions. I'm like,
Mm.
who is gonna this, and my
Yes.
friend has been guiding me, so I don't dream. I just have visions.
And you travel. You probably astral travel across space and time.
Oh
And
gosh, yeah.
that's really, really powerful what you're saying, because there are different ways of healing in your dreams. Psychologically, you can work out what your dream means, and you can kind of try and make sense of it cognitively. But what you're describing is a healing process across space and time, where you can actually you don't even have to remember what happens, and the healing takes place. It's incredibly powerful.
It
Good on
is.
you.
Have you
Yeah.
done any past life regressions?
No, I haven't. I haven't. But part of my repertoire and my tools is I can actually heal on a karmic level. I've got the sacred geometry that allows me to access what we call the karmic grid. And there I can clear what needs to be cleared from there into. So that's kind of the past life stuff that I do, but I haven't ever had a past life regression myself. I
Oh,
have
that's
had, yeah, yeah. So it's an interesting topic, but not one that I'm terribly versant on.
fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us of your experience as an energy coach, and can you tell people what that is? We
Yes.
coach and then energy. I would know what it
Yes.
is. Maybe some people don't understand or know what that is.
Yes. Well, what I do as a coach, I'm a guide, I'm a facilitator, but I'm a different kind of coach because I also teach people. I'm passionate about teaching. So I'm not the kind of coach that just sits and asks questions, but I think what's really helpful sometimes to move people along is to give them insight, to give them a piece of kind of theory that helps land what we're talking about in kind of context. So I work in that way, and I'm very pragmatic. So I'm teaching people tactics, tools, and I'm also doing healings along the way. But my topic is energy mastery. And you said you had an awakening 2.5 years ago. I had a similar awakening as well in 2020. And because all these years I've been working in the field of psychology, and I, through various ways, it came to me that energy runs the show. Every thought that I've been teaching people about or working with people on, every behavior, every story is actually just energy and has an energetic frequency. And so what I teach people to do when they're mastering their energy is three things. I teach them how to understand or sense into their energy, how to manage their energy so that they, practicing good energy hygiene and interrupting energy dips. You want to keep your vibration high. And then how to optimize your energy. So those three things: understanding, managing, and optimizing your energy. And of course, it's a blend of, of course, I weave in, psychology, and we're talking about contemporary psychology challenges, but there's a spiritual framework that we're working through everything. So yeah, that's what I do.
That's so cool. I love that you mentioned energy hygiene, because
Yes.
we do different types of hygiene for our bodies. But for some people, they've heard of the word energy. They don't understand it because they can't see it.
Yes.
And if they're not awakened, that's even a harder job to try to explain and teach them. And I have a
Yes.
feeling that with the work you do, um, you do it with such kindness and gentleness. You don't rush people to quickly open up. It's at their pace and speed. Am I correct?
You're absolutely correct. And as you're talking, there's the Shakespearean quote. I think it was Shakespeare. He said, "The readiness is all." And it has been my guiding a kind of mantra through the course of my career. Uh, you can't, I mean, when somebody comes to me, there's a readiness anyway, but they're on, everyone's journey is so incredibly unique, and you go at your own pace, and of course the age old cliche, you meet your client where you're at, is the key to unlocking their trust in you, and their trust in themselves, because going through a spiritual awakening or a personal deep journey can be very anxiety provoking. So as the coach, you're wanting to contain the anxiety so that people feel safe to move forward. And I mean, when I went through my awakening, I was just, Jesus, I was so fearful. I was scared of meeting dark entities, and then what I realized, and this is what I teach people, is that your energy is your protection. In
Mm.
fact, if you go down that route and you elevate your energy and you release all your baggage and your vibration lifts, you actually don't need crystals around you. Your energy is your protection. And that's when I learned that for myself. I kind of took a deep breath and I was able to go into this boots and all.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think a
Mm,
lot of people like us, fear hold them back, right? And my spiritual awakening was horrible. And I learned that my spirit guides were working on me, right? Because I have health issues, and
right.
yeah, I just
Yeah.
cut
I
and
mean,
paste them because I was freezing and I was hot at the same time. It was beautiful
yeah.
and terrible at the same time.
It can be, it really can be. But I remember, I mean, I'll share a personal story if that's okay here. But um, before I actually embarked on this journey, I was welcoming stuff in anyway, because I was spiritually attuned. I was just on a lower vibration. And I remember one night waking up in the middle of the night and feeling like someone was spooning me from behind.
Mhm.
And I turned around and I suddenly felt there was no, I couldn't see anything, but I had such a strong sensation of this dark energy, this dark force.
Yeah.
And I kind of turned the light on, got, bought my sage stick out, cleared the room, all of that. And it
Yeah.
was actually that moment that kind of made me realize that, geez, I've got to do something with my energy, because I'm a channel anyway. We all are, all right? But I was a channel and I was bringing in the wrong things. So you may as well do it the right way, because you're going to attract stuff into your life anyway. So there's actually nothing to be scared about. And so, yeah, that's what happened to me. That was part of my awakening as well. It was terrifying.
Yeah, I believe you because I've had very, very bad, non-pleasant experiences with dark energy. I've
Yeah.
seen it all, sleep paralysis, all of it. And now
Yes.
they
Yes.
stay away from me, right? Because
Exactly.
I'm awake.
That's the point. That is exactly,
Yeah.
if you want, and I mean, that we're talking about that in the spiritual realm, but let's bring that into practical day-to-day realities. If you want to attract better experiences in your life, better people, better work experiences, more joy, less darkness, less gossip, whatever it is, you may as well elevate your energy. So I think it works both in the spiritual realm, but also in the day-to-day practicalities of life.
Yeah, I agree. How would you define vibration?
Well, it's an energetic frequency. It's an energetic frequency. And I don't know if you ever listened to, have you got, I've gotten into sound vibration in a big way, solfeggio frequencies. The best way, the easiest way I can describe it to people is everything has got an energetic frequency. If you listen to different music, they each, everything has exists in a particular energetic band and does different things. And from a healing perspective, what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to raise your energetic frequency. It's almost like a radio station. Think of it that way. You want to tune in. You don't want to tune into the kind of horror shows. You want to tune into the jazz or whatever it is, the lighter stuff. So it's a frequency that you can actually consciously tune into and live your life by. There's no other way I can describe it other than that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a feel good energy. You know,
It's a
when you're
feel-good
listening
energy.
to it, yeah, if you're listening to a song that makes you feel sad, yes, listen to it for a moment, but move on. Then you listen to
Yes.
something that makes you feel good, you're moving. That
Yes.
it's just feeling good.
Now, what you're describing, Bernadette, is a simple way of tuning into energy,
Mhm,
you know, like listening to different songs and how they make you feel
mhm.
will help you tune into the energy of that experience. And there are very simple ways that we can do it. And I teach my clients how to do it. That's one way. But, simply pausing for a moment in your day and asking, just sitting quietly for 1 minute, that's all it takes, and asking, is my energy open or closed?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it constricted or expanded? Is it heavy or light? Whatever the question is, those are ways that can help us
Mhm.
just tune into energy.
Yeah,
And you're tuning into the feeling, but it's the energy around that you want to work on.
yeah, I agree, yeah. You also help, with those who are burnout and feeling stuck. I don't know
Yes.
about where you are, but feels like I'm walking around burnout zombies here, all right? We are so bombarded with so much. I get overwhelmed and sometimes I just have to shut it down. Meaning
Yes.
how much conversation I have, the TV, the radio, whatever it may be. It's the culture and society that we live in. For some reason, it seems to be normal when it's suffocating and killing us. What are your
I
thoughts?
I agree with you. And for me, I mean, it's no different here in Australia. And believe you me, we've got it easier in Australia than many other places in the world, and there's serious burnout. Um, the way that I think about burnout
Mhm,
is it is a state, an energetic state that happens when the demands of a situation exceed our capacity to deal with them.
mhm,
And there are two ways that you can do that. You can deal with that. You can either try and lessen the demands placed on you, which is really difficult because, we hold down, some of us are single parents, some of us hold down tough corporate roles, some of us are living with health challenges. I mean, you can't really tune that down. So the other option is to increase your capacity to deal with the demands. And that's where energy mastery comes in. Because what I teach people, when you elevate your energy and you practice good hygiene, you're actually expanding your energetic capacity. It's like, think about different kinds of coffee cups, you get small little espresso cups and, then a small demand's going to overflow. But if you buy a big mug from Starbucks or one of those places, you can actually house more stuff in it. It's the same with your energetic body. The more you expand it, the more resilient you are, and the less these things trip you up. And that's why burnout is such an important part of what I work with, because I'm helping people expand their capacity to deal with the demands rather than trying to avoid the demands.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And I never could understand until recently how some people have so much peace
Mhm.
and chaos. I just never understood it. And it makes
Mhm.
sense because there's monks and those who meditate, and it's like it's a war zone around them, but there's stillness. I always ask,
Yes.
how can I get that? I want some of that. It's fascinating.
It is. And again, with my clients, what I teach them is the concept of energetic shielding, putting energetic shields around you, which protect you, provide an energetic buffer from the chaos around you and help you stay in a more zen state, a more peaceful state. You're less affected by that toxic friend, by that boss that keeps yelling at you. And so the concept, the concept of energy, I'm laughing because actually a mate of mine contacted me the other day. I mean, he's 60 years old
Mhm.
and his boss is 42, and his boss is like he's a narcissist in the true
Mm.
sense of it. And he, my friend's just come back from a 2-week holiday, all zen, 3-week holiday, all zen, and within a day had packed his bags and taken some sick leave. But,
Mm.
energetic shielding is the trick here. And there's some very powerful tools and techniques that I teach people using sacred geometry to do that. And it does create a feeling of greater peace.
Yeah, that's really cool. What is sacred geometry?
Yeah. Sacred geometry is my tool. It's so magical. Think about nature.
Mhm.
Think about honeycomb, for example. They are perfect hexagons in this magical shape. If you look into the middle of a flower, you've got this perfect shape and patterns, and you see them all through nature. You even see them in the human body, like our DNA is a spiral. It's actually an octahedron, two back-to-back things, but think about it as a spiral. Our cells are spherical. So all through nature and the human body, we've got these perfectly formed geometric structures. And each of them houses a particular energetic frequency. It's like tuning into that radio station. And they can be used, these perfect divine patterns can be used, depending on their frequency, for different healing purposes. So what you don't actually, it's an energetic form and structure, and the way you can either build it with your hands if you want, or you can build it in your mind's eye. And when you build the right, or you create the right sacred geometry for a particular healing, what it does is it acts as an adapter, because you can either put the geometry in you or around you. And then when you're channeling divine source, you don't actually have to do the work. You don't have to house the energy. The sacred geometry, which has got such divine intelligence, guides you and helps with the healing. So it's like the key to unlocking very, very potent healings. And I know that sounds esoteric, but that's what it is. So for example, I'll give you a simple example. And there's simple sacred geometries, and of course they're very advanced ones, but a simpler sacred geometry is a pyramid structure. Yeah, we all know what that is. And pyramid structures they house energy that is around protection. It's really good for protection.
Mhm.
And so here's a simple thing. If you want to build either in your mind's eye, you can just kind of build a pyramid structure around you and just sit in that and set the intention that it's creating a protective barrier. You will feel your energy shift, and you can do that as often as you like. So that's a very, very simple way of explaining what a geometry is and an example of how it can be used. But other geometries can be used to heal, to get to the karmic grid, for example, and heal at that level. So they've got different applications.
Oh, that's so cool. Do you do meditations by any chance?
I
I'm
actually
thinking about it.
I'm not a great meditator, but I do guided meditations.
Yes, that's what I
Um,
mean.
I do go, oh yeah, yeah. And I've got my own little album that I've recorded for people who sign up to one of my programs.
Mhm.
And I take people, and I believe very much in the power of guided meditation, but it is difficult for me to just sit for 20 minutes.
Ah,
And I actually, it's just, I'm not wired that way. But there are different ways of meditating. It's like I am very into my walking meditations. I've got a local beach down the road, and I've worked through so much down there. Through walking, I walk on the boardwalk, and it's a mindful walk, it's a meditative walk, and I'm working through stuff. They're different ways. Journaling can be a very meditative experience if you do free writing and you don't think about what you're writing, but you just write whatever comes up. There are different ways of doing it. You don't have to sit still for 20 minutes or
yeah.
half an hour.
Yeah, yeah. I love that you bring different types of meditations because
Yeah,
what works for me may not work for a friend or a loved one, right?
I
For
know.
me, my
Absolutely.
mind, I don't even have words for it. Okay. It's like a busy highway, nonstop, right? That's why I meditate before bed and I fall asleep and is it the subconscious mind?
Yeah,
Unconscious, I don't know.
unconscious.
They do what they need to do while I'm out because
That's
I
right.
can't truly surrender during the day. I'm worried about
Yes,
what for supper. I need water, right? All those stuff that comes in mind when we're trying to quiet our minds. It's hard.
exactly. Exactly. I mean, I would say I had a meditative experience this morning because I got out of bed. I journaled my dream because I had this cracking dream last night. And then I just lay afterwards with my one hand on my heart chakra, on the other hand on my solar plexus. And I just lay there. And in my mind's eye, put a geometry on me to run unconditional love through me. And as I was doing that, I went into an altered state and I
Mhm.
channeled the most incredible stuff.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's a form of meditation, isn't it? Like I just was knocked out by lying there, and it was, I don't know how long, it was probably about 15 seconds, but I came out of it with unbelievable wisdom, like an insight that came from somewhere else. So there are different ways of doing it.
That's so cool. Yeah,
Mm.
one of my guides showed me a triangle. And I don't know, it's like a 3D triangle. I could see different points and angles connecting. And I asked my friend, what is that? She said everything's coming together. And
That's interesting.
yeah, yeah, and there's a show on Gaia called Sacred Geometry. I don't know
Yes,
if you're aware
yes.
of Gaia, the network.
Yes, I am, of course.
So
Yeah.
I'm always watching stuff like that. It's just fascinating.
So what's happened by the sounds of things, Bernadette, is that you've downloaded your own sacred geometry.
Oh.
You, yes. So now what you need to do is you need to work out how you use it for yourself.
Mm,
Okay. Like triangles, pyramids can be protection. As I said, that's the archetypal use of them. But when you download your own one, might have your own special meanings. So what I would do if I were you is to tune into guidance around how you should best be incorporating it into your healing and your life.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I see you do healing as well. Guess what my logo is? Healing together. That's a
Wow.
podcast logo. And it's
Well,
yeah, I'm passionate about it.
and my purpose is fulfilling potential together, which is basically healing together as well.
Yeah, and the
So
name of
snap.
my podcast too. That's so
Yeah,
cool. That's
really
really
cool.
cool. Yeah, what are
Yeah.
your thoughts on water and healing?
Oh, water is a conductor of energy. So it is such a powerful element to use in healing. And, you know, you can do something very simple like, running a salt bath, put some Epsom salts in. Or what you can do is you can run a bath or stand under the shower, and you can either play a solfeggio frequency on Spotify, or you can or you can just imagine healing light filling the water, and it is so powerful, and dedicate that bath or that shower to healing, because water it cleanses. It is the most incredible element. It's also I had a sensation. I was at a retreat last September, and I felt like I had water energy around me for about 4 days. It felt clear and cooling, and I learned when I was there, I was talking to someone, they said that is Lemurian energy, which is pure love.
Mhm.
So they're different interpretations of everything. You got to work out what it means for you.
Yeah, yeah. Interestingly, my podcast logo is of water. And I think I've been channeling this stuff without even knowing it. And I know after it happens. Because I'm like, why should it be of water? People who has podcasts do a headphone. And I keep feeling water, water, water. So that I'm like, fine, water. And I had a vision of something that was dead and it that dropped in the water, it came back to life. Like, oh my gosh,
Yes.
it's mind blowing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, so that's that's incredible. That's the spiritual answer. But maybe from a psychological perspective, when you were talking, water represents the unconscious. That's
Oh.
what it represents. So maybe think about that in terms of your vision you've just described. Like,
Mhm.
what is it? Like, if you delve into your unconscious, what are you bringing back to life? What are you
Mm.
resurrecting?
Yeah, yeah.
And what is it that you need to bring to awareness?
Ooh, sometimes I just don't go down there. It's a scary, it can be scary, right? And some of
Yeah,
us need just a little bit of guidance, someone to hold our hands through that journey and process.
very
Yeah,
much so.
yeah,
And that's what the coach does. That's what a coach does. Creates a safe container where you
yeah.
can go, and in a high vibrational container. So it's not hot, nothing can happen to you in that container. High
Mhm,
vibrational, it's love-based, and
mhm.
it allows you to do your best work in a safe space.
Awesome. Well, as we wrap up today's episode, a few questions for you, which I asked every guest this one. What is the meaning of life for you?
Easy, very easy. The meaning of life self, is discovery.
Hmm, hmm.
Discovery of yourself, and discovery of others, and discovery of the world around us. So I think it's about discovery.
Yeah, I love that. Last question for
Mm.
you. Where can my listeners find you, support your work, and work with you?
Oh, that's wonderful. They can support me on my Instagram, which is gabrielle.pimstone. And then they can also support me. I've got a Facebook page. I'm not as active there, but I do check in. And if you DM me on either of those forums, I'll respond to you. My Facebook page is Gabrielle at Generative Growth, but my Instagram is gabrielle.pimstone.
Awesome. Well, Gabrielle, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for
Thank
all
you.
you do. It's been a pleasure to have you on the podcast.
It's been wonderful to be here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.